Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
My name is Alice Beza, and I'm an alcoholic. And I want to thank Cy for asking me to speak. I came to the program in March, but my sobriety date is May 10th. I drank for a long time and I took pills, and when I came to the program, I was crazy. I had two. I still am, but now I think I know a little bit. I'm a little aware. I had two nervous breakdowns and about 2 suicide attempts. And I was born in New York. My parents were... I knew this wasn't going to work. My parents were immigrant first cousins from Spain, and everybody said children of first cousins were strange. And I was always different, and I guess maybe it was true, I don't know. I remember my father was an alcoholic and kept wine under the table in the kitchen. We lived in a tenement in New York. And I think when I was about 5, I had some of the kids from the apartment building in, and we got into the wine, and it was fantastic. And we hung from the fire escape, and my mother came home and almost killed us. I had a blackout. And I think every time I drank after that, it was have, one drink and then I would go into a blackout. I was an asthmatic, and my mother, I was skinny and didn't go to school, and my mother thought that she was going to build me up because I didn't eat well and I was always sick, so she would give me a raw egg for breakfast with a little sherry wine. And the egg didn't go down too good, but I kind of liked the wine. When I was in about 6th grade, my mother sent me to a boarding school in upstate New York. She wanted to keep me off the streets in New York, and my father was in the Merchant Marines and gone all the time. And she worked 2 jobs because he didn't support us. And I, resented going to school, to an all-girls boarding school and with the nuns. And if I was different when I got there, I was really different when I got out. I was boy crazy and full of guilt because, the nuns just knew that everything I did was wrong. And I could never get along with my mother. I could never win her approval. And I finished high school a year early, but that still didn't seem to, be good for her. And I wanted to go to college, and the nuns encouraged me, but my mother decided to take me to Spain and visit the family. So she took me to Spain in 48, and let's see, she spent 3 months there with me, and in Spain you can drink really freely, and I had all boy cousins who were a lot older than I was, and I convinced my mother to let me stay after the 3 months, and I spent a year there, and I drank, and I was in blackouts, and my uncle threw me out of his house, and I went to live with my other aunt, and my father was there, and we kind of staggered across my aunt's house. But I think I started out as a periodic. My father at that time was drinking steadily, and I thought I wanted to live in Spain, but then everybody kind of, just said that I was the strange American girl and very loose, and so I decided that I wanted to come back home with my mother, and so in dancing, and I'd have a couple of drinks and go into a blackout, and half of the time I didn't know how I'd get home, and my mother'd be downstairs waiting for me, and she'd drag me up by my hair and call me names, and it was constantly like that. I'd feel bad and think, next time I go out I'll just have one drink and I won't, make a fool of myself. And I'd have the remorse, and I'd think I couldn't function, though. I was just too afraid and too different, and I knew no one liked me. And so I would drink, and the same thing would happen. I'd go into a blackout, and my friends would bring me home. In 52, I was engaged, and I had been engaged to someone for a year and a half, and at Christmas I went out with the girls to have a drink, and we went into a bar, and one of the girls saw someone standing at the bar, and she said, "Oh, he's for me," and then I thought, we'll see about that. So I went up and played the jukebox, and I started talking to him, and I don't know, we just got very friendly, and 11 days later, 11 or 18 days later, something like that, we got married. And we've been married 26 years, and 25, it's a little strange. He wasn't working at the time, and I married him just to get away from my mother and to live happily ever after. And I guess we didn't really know what we were getting married for. We moved in with his stepfather, and we'd have parties and drink, and I quit my job, and we stayed home together, and we'd fight and drink. And then I was going to go back home to my mother, and that didn't seem like a good idea. She didn't want me. She didn't even know I was married. And in fact, we got married. The lady was cleaning the church, and the priest didn't even know that, we were getting married that day. And we left the bar and went to the church, and he got one of his friends as to, be man of honor or best man, whatever. And I had spent the night at my girlfriend's house, and she says, "You really don't have to go through with this, Alice. You can still call up Neil." I was still engaged, and he didn't know about this wedding, and no one knew it. There were about 5 people in the church, and I just didn't know what to do, so I got married. And then we went and had our reception at the bar on 49th Street. And had our honeymoon there too, I guess. Every night we'd drink, and so finally it got kind of bad. After about 2 months, my husband had been in the Army and had gotten out, and he decided that going in the Marine Corps would be the thing. And he went in the Marine Corps, and I started running around like crazy, and we were going to get divorced, but he didn't know about that yet either. And I was going to go back to my fiancé. It was very confused. But I went to North Carolina. My husband was going to ship out, and I got sick. I had asthma again, went into the hospital, and we decided to try to make a go of it. And I had a son about 18 months later, and we had kind of a hectic career, you know, in the Marine Corps, moving around, and I had 2 boys. And let's see, my husband retired in 70, and we owned a bar during this time, and that's when I decided, you know, that everything was his fault, and I tried to commit suicide and took pills and had a nervous breakdown, did it all together. And I remember my youngest son was 5 when I slit my wrist, and I guess they came and they took me, and my son said, I didn't know that many people knew us. He said there must have been about 100 people here when they took you out. And I remember the remorse and the shame and how terrible it was. And after that I went on wrecking cars, and I got a 502 and went to jail, and my husband came to get me with my 2 children, and I saw the look on their face, and it was just terrible. So 6 months ago, it was all starting again. I had had a breakdown a year and a half ago, and I saw that I was going the same way, and it just seemed to come to me that I had to do something about my life, and I didn't know what. And but I knew that my drinking was all wrong, and that maybe if I could look, you know, do something about my drinking, maybe I could do something about my life. And I called a friend of mine, and it was about 9 o'clock at night. Her mother had told me that she was in AA. And I said, do you still go to AA? And I didn't even know what AA was about or what would happen there. And she said, yeah. And I said, well, I think I need to go. And she said, oh, okay. She says, why don't you come to my house tomorrow night, and I'll take you to a meeting. And I said, oh, okay. She says, are you drinking? And I said, yeah. She says, do you think you can stop drinking tonight? And I looked, and I had half a bottle of wine, and I said, yeah. So I finished the half a bottle of wine. But in the meantime, she said, why don't you, you know, wait. She says, don't have a drink tomorrow after work. She says, wait for me and I'll come and take you. And she was right, because I wouldn't have gone sober. The next day I paced around, and she took me. And I heard people talk about the fears and the drinking, and I knew that my problems were mine, and they weren't my family, and they weren't my children, and it was me. And so I started to go to meetings, and on my 3rd day of sobriety, I heard Clancy speak, and he just had something, you know, and he just identified everything for me. And I live in Orange County, and I was going to meetings. The girl that took me to the first few meetings said, you're on your own. So I was jumping around, going to lots of meetings, and just trying to find a place. And then about 3 weeks later, I heard Clancy again. And I went up to speak to him, and he was really sweet and loving, and I knew that he had something that I wanted. And so And so I asked him, you know, I don't know what I asked him, but he said, why don't you come to the meeting in West LA? And I got lost going around Orange County. So I said, I don't know how to get there. And he said, well, he said, call me up and I'll give you directions. And he had me call up every day, and then I came to the meeting, and then I asked him to be my sponsor. And I've come through a lot of things, you know, and I couldn't have come through them without this group and without Clancy, and I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.